The ancient Israelites, a Semitic people, fundamentally shaped the concept of monotheism. They originated in the Levant during the Iron Age. Both Jews and Samaritans claim descent from them. This video aims to explore who the ancient Israelites were from a genetic perspective through DNA and historical analysis. Important archaeological sites like Abel, Beth, Maacah, and Megiddo, which are mentioned in the Bible and have been inhabited since the Bronze Age, provide key insights. Fossils found at these sites date back to the era of the Kingdom of Israel, leading archaeogenetics experts to classify these samples as Israelite in origin. However, these samples show genetic diversity, indicating that Israelite DNA is not uniform. Analysis of the average Iron Age Israelites' ancestry reveals around 30% of their genes come from a proto-agriculturalist culture in the Levant known as the Nans, who lived about 15,000 years ago and are a significant genetic component of modern southern Arabian populations. Approximately 42% of their ancestry comes from Anatolian Neolithic farmers who migrated into the Levant around 9,000 years ago and mixed with the Nans, forming a new genetic group called Levant Neolithic farmers. This group constitutes about 55% of the ancient Israelite genome and is a characteristic genetic signal found throughout the ancient Fertile Crescent. The Stone Age ended around 7,000 years ago, followed by the Copper Age, which saw mass migrations of the Ubaid culture from southern Mesopotamia into the region. These groups, rich in Iranian Neolithic ancestry, mixed with the local Levantine population to form the ancestral backbone of the early Bronze Age Canaanites. These Canaanites lived in the region for many years, but were eventually affected by a drying event at the end of the early Bronze Age. During the early Bronze Age, a group of people known as the Amorites migrated in large numbers. These migrations mixed with the local populations of the southern Levant, creating the primary ancestry of the Middle Bronze Age inhabitants of the region. This blend also became the largest genetic component found in the two Israelite samples available to researchers. The Bronze Age ended suddenly due to a significant event known as the Late Bronze Age collapse, characterized by widespread societal breakdown and severe climatic changes that led to droughts and famines. These disruptions caused migrations of various groups, including the Sea Peoples, who likely originated from the Aegean and Anatolian regions. A subgroup of these Sea Peoples, known as the Philistines, attacked various parts of the eastern Mediterranean and, after being defeated by Pharaoh Ramses III in the Nile Delta, settled in the area that is now the Gaza Strip. The integration of the Sea Peoples with the local southern Canaanite culture laid the foundation for the Iron Age southern Levantine ancestry. The two Israelite samples also showed Greek-like genetic admixture, indicating that ancestry alone did not make the Israelites unique. What set the Israelites apart was their use of ancient Hebrew, a subdialect of the larger Canaanite language family, which included Phoenician, Moabite, Ammonite, and Edomite. Additionally, the Israelites were notable for primarily worshiping Yahweh, a Canaanite god, although they were still polytheistic and worshipped other gods from the Canaanite pantheon. By the Middle Iron Age, the Israelites had formed two distinct kingdoms: the Kingdom of Israel in the north, with its capital in Samaria, and the Kingdom of Judah in the south, with its capital in Jerusalem. In 722 BC, the Neo-Assyrian Empire conquered the northern kingdom of Israel and deported part of its population. Later, the Babylonians conquered the Assyrians and, in 586 BC, also conquered the southern kingdom of Judah, deporting some of its population as well. Many Jewish people show DNA markers of Northwest Asian ancestry. This could be due to historical events, such as their captivity in Babylon. During this captivity, the Hebrew Bible was completed, forming the core of modern Jewish faith. When the Persian Empire rose under Cyrus the Great, many exiled Israelites were allowed to return to their homeland. They brought with them their monotheistic faith, spreading it to the local populations. This region was later conquered by the Greeks under Alexander the Great. After a brief period of self-rule following the Maccabean revolt, the area was taken over by the Romans in the 1st century AD. Another revolt by the local population led to severe Roman repression. Following the destruction of the Second Temple, the Romans renamed the province Syria Palestina. Many Jews then migrated to different parts of the world, forming what we now know as the Jewish diaspora. To find out which modern populations have the highest levels of Israelite ancestry, we need to look at genetic distances. A genetic distance chart shows that the Samaritans, an endogamous group in the Levant, have the closest genetic distance to ancient Israelite samples. The Samaritans, who live in central Samaria, believe they are direct descendants of the Israelite tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh. They have unique religious practices based on the Samaritan Torah and have preserved their genetic makeup over millennia by marrying within their community. However, the origins of the Samaritans are debated. According to Jewish tradition, when the Israelites were captured by the Assyrians in 721 BC, the Assyrians repopulate the region with foreigners. These newcomers intermingled with the remaining Israelites, leading to the emergence of the Samaritans. From a Jewish perspective, Samaritans were traditionally viewed as a mixed population, though the Samaritans themselves disagree with this view. Recent genetic studies, however, challenge this traditional Jewish belief. Two papers analyzing the DNA of the Samaritan community have shown that the majority of Samaritan males possess Y-DNA markers that are shared by the Jewish priestly class known as Kohanim. This suggests, from the Jewish viewpoint, a paternal connection to Aaron, Moses' brother. Additionally, their mitochondrial DNA, which traces maternal lineage, is exceptionally rare and largely absent in other ethnic groups around the world, indicating a relatively unmixed origin. These findings suggest that Samaritans are likely descendants of Israelites who remained in the region after the Assyrian conquest, preserving their distinct cultural and genetic identity. For this reason, the analysis will use DNA samples from Samaritans instead of ancient Israelites, as the Samaritan samples are of higher quality and more plentiful, allowing for a more thorough and reliable genetic analysis. Modern Palestinians derive 60 to 80% of their ancestry from a Samaritan-like profile, with Christians and northern Palestinian Muslims scoring higher than those in the south. While Samaritans have historically mixed with modern Palestinians, this does not imply direct descent, but rather indicates a genetic affinity based on available samples. Jewish populations also show ancestry from a Samaritan-like source, with Iraqi Jews scoring the highest. It is crucial to note that Jewish groups are genetically diverse and do not represent a single genetic profile, as they have intermixed with various peoples over the centuries. It is important to approach these findings with respect for the diverse narratives and beliefs within our audience. Identity transcends DNA, and genetics is just one tool to understand our shared past. This knowledge should unite, not divide us.
If you found this video enjoyable, please consider liking and sharing it. Additionally, subscribing to this channel will ensure that you receive more updates in the future. Thank you.